Hey there, it's Jay again with Their Arts. Wanted to take some time today. I got a really good book from a colleague, um, not just for using with clients, but also I found a lot of good stuff in here for myself. And the name of it is Break Free. It's probably going to be backwards. I don't know if it's going to be the right way. But I'll have the information in the description part of this video, but it's called Break Free: Acceptance and Commitment Therapy in 3 Steps. It's by Tanya J. Peterson. It's called, the subtitle is A Workbook for Overcoming Self-Doubt and Embracing Life. And I just wanted to read a couple of things in here. I'm not going to read the whole book to you, but just to give you a little inkling of what's inside here. A lot of it's centered on the mindfulness stuff. If you're familiar with mindfulness therapy and mindfulness apps and everything that everybody's got going on, a little bit too close there on the screen. So it's got a lot of that, but it goes beyond that and kind of integrates some other psychological principles. But I'm just going to read a few things here. First one is called, and this is on page 42, it's called Fusion and Diffusion. I think this book is not too expensive, $15, but still very valuable. Daniel has an important presentation at work, and because of it, his ever-present anxiety has skyrocketed. He thinks he's not cut out for this kind of thing, and that he'll be exposed as an incompetent fraud in front of his supervisors and his colleagues. He spends more than a week getting to work early and staying late, and he loses count of the drafts of his presentation that he's deleted from his computer. It sounds like a lot of anxiety going on there. On the day of the presentation, he feels worse about it than he did when he began working on it. Thinking that the presentation will be his last task at his job, since he's for sure going to be fired, he shows up for it the only way he can, after gulping down an extra dose of his prescribed Xanax. With dread and an uncomfortable mix of agitation and numbness, he begins his presentation. So that's what anxiety can do to you. And Daniel's the example here. And the book goes on. Daniel is wrestling not only with himself, but also with what he tells himself. And the result is that he's become trapped within his own mind. He's in a headlock, so to speak. In ACT, that's Acceptance and Commitment Therapy, we say that Daniel has fused with his problems, and the unfortunate result is that the fusion is interfering with the way that he does his job. ACT uses diffusion to free people from this kind of headlock. You too will learn how to use diffusion as a way of putting some distance between your thoughts and whatever is really happening. We will always have our thoughts, and many of our thoughts are going to be negative. But struggling with our negative thoughts, acting on them, and refraining of action because of them will only perpetuate our misery. Diffusion helps us interact with our thoughts in a different way, and lets us put our true selves, not our negative thoughts, in control of our lives. The book's written with examples that utilize people, like characters in there. So that's pretty good. I'm going to skip ahead here to page 60. It's still talking about diffusion. Diffusion. Go ahead, come unglued. Fusing with our thoughts and taking them seriously as absolute truths limits our behavior and prevents us from acting in ways that help us get what we want. Rather than engaging in a meaningful life, we remain locked in our own minds. Think of a mother whose toddler has just watched a TV show. She turns off the television, and this makes the child very unhappy, and he throws a loud and animated tantrum, which likely frustrates her. If she focuses exclusively on her child's strong emotions and unruly behavior, she may be tempted to do anything it takes to get the tantrum to stop. For example, she may yell at him or threaten various punishments. She may even give in and turn on the TV. Of course, that will only teach him that tantrums work. When she's focused on the tantrum in this way, she's fused with it. Her child's emotional upset is now her upset, too. All her thoughts, feelings, and decisions are about getting the tantrum to end immediately. Her fusion with her child's tantrum is limiting her actions and affecting the quality of her moment. What could this mother do instead? She could diffuse herself from the tantrum, and as she realizes that she isn't caught up in a tantrum of her own, and as she realizes she isn't caught up in a tantrum of her own, and that she doesn't have to feel as upset as her toddler does, she is already diffusing. She is now free to choose effective action. Instead of struggling with the tantrum and trying to control it, she can remain unfazed and diffused. Make sure her son is safe, and then ignore his tantrum, knowing that it will take care of itself. Her own actions, rather than her child's behavior, are now what affect the quality of her moment and can continue to influence the quality of her day. We can struggle against difficult thoughts and experiences, or we can let them be and choose to behave in ways that move us closer to how we want to be. Off camera here, my cat will not leave me alone. This is Allie. I don't know what her deal is. Allie, why are you so jealous today? I'm going to put her right here and see if she'll be nice. Concentrate on the things you can control. You can't control how others behave, and you can't control the thoughts that pop into your mind, but you can control how you respond to your thoughts and others' behavior, and you can choose how you will behave. When you are able to shift your focus away from all the things you can't control and concentrate instead on what you have the power to change, you can take action towards what you value in life. Even more of an emphasis whenever I rewarded this cat's bad behavior. She is right here. Right here on the lap desk. A lap cat. Allie, look at the camera. You see that? Oh, wow. She's very old. Anyway, next part of the book I'm going to read is page 74, and it's called Acceptance. Own the towel. Don't throw it in. We may face difficulties in the world around us and in our own private inner worlds. Challenges and conflicts abound. Stress, depression, anxiety, substance use, eating disorders, trauma and its aftermath, and much more threaten our mental health and well-being. And in our attempts to preserve our well-being, we often use avoidance as a coping mechanism. It's natural to want to hide from problems. In fact, avoidance is programmed into us as one aspect of our fight or flight response. As such, avoidance is normal human behavior, and it doesn't necessarily mean weakness. But it does interfere with the quality of our life. As we try to control, change, or escape from negative internal and external experiences, we shrink our world and become trapped in a narrow space. That's how avoidance keeps us from living freely and acting in ways that move us toward what we value. And that's how avoidance contributes to self-doubt and the feeling that life and the world are meaningless. It says meaninglessness in here, but I think she meant meaningless. As a source of many mental health problems and in the way it limits our life experiences, avoidance actually causes us more harm than whatever it is that we're trying to avoid. In ACT, the opposite of avoidance is acceptance. Acceptance doesn't mean surrendering or resigning ourselves to suffering, and it doesn't require us to maintain a fake smile through hell or high water. Acceptance allows us to stop struggling and to willingly experience the distressing thoughts, emotions, and circumstances that are an inevitable part of life. When we acknowledge and accept everything in life for what it is, instead of resisting, avoiding, and judging, we can move forward in a meaningful direction. Acceptance, then, is an active behavior, the outcome of our choice to assume power over ourselves and the quality of our lives. and then it has a place. The book is filled with places where you can write in. That's hence it's a workbook. And it says open the door, list 4 or 5 things, situations, people, feelings, or thoughts that you tend to avoid. I forgot to read on the top over here. Your brain is smart, but not that smart. Your brain is extremely intelligent. It keeps you alive. It's what allows you to think and feel and act. But even though your brain is smart, it's not omniscient and it's far from infallible. That's because its ability to process information is limited. It can't read minds, see the future, or perfectly remember the past. It's also susceptible to fatigue, injury, and the effects of illness and chemical imbalances. So even though your brain thinks something is true, that doesn't make that thought true. You don't have to take your thoughts at face value. All right, you're going down now, girl. Oh. I think I have one more selection here that I wanted to share with you. It's on page 140. Nope, you stay down. Okay. You can choose. Because we don't exist alone on a desert island, we have to navigate a complex social world. We have people in our close inner circle as well as people in circles that extend outwards from our center. Whether we are interacting with those close to us or with strangers on the bus, we can't control what people are going to say or do. Like it or not, we have very little choice in how someone is going to behave towards us. That doesn't mean we have no choices at all. We aren't powerless in our lives. We can't control others' actions, but we can, in fact, control our own actions and reactions. We always have choices when it comes to ourselves. It's a matter of remaining true to our values. How do we want our lives to be? How do we want to be? Do we wish to remain fused with a negative comment, person, or situation, or do we choose to diffuse and break free? Where are we going to place our attention? On the problem or on the other things that are happening in the present moment? Are we going to overthink? Or are we going to step back and observe in order to make the best decisions moving forward? We are in complete control of our answers to these questions, and we're in charge of the actions we take. As we answer the preceding questions, we can create goals and make action plans to achieve them. There are many things outside of us which we can't control, but there are things much more important that we can control: ourselves, our lives, our values, and our actions. We can make choices every single day that will either move us forward towards our values and quality of life or away from those values and quality of life. We can choose. The power is in our hands. And she has a Zen story here at the end of this page 141 that if you're familiar with Zen koans or koans or however you say it, they're really kind of deep poetry with metaphors and stuff in them. But anyway, the moon cannot be stolen. This traditional Zen Buddhist story illustrates the quiet power we all possess. Ryokan, a Zen master, lived the simplest kind of life in a little hut at the foot of a mountain. One evening, a thief visited the hut, only to discover that there was nothing in it to steal. Ryokan returned and he caught him. "You may have come a long way to visit me," he told the prowler, "and you should not return empty-handed. Please, go ahead and take my clothes as a gift." The thief was bewildered, but he took the clothes and he slunk away. Ryokan sat naked, watching the moon. "Poor fellow," he mused. "I wish I could have given him this beautiful moon." And it goes on. Bad things happen in life. We can't always choose what will or will not happen to us. We can choose things that are much better than external events: our perspective, our values, our behavior. Figuratively speaking, what's more invaluable to you, the things that you put on your body or the things that are inside you? Also, compare those things that can be stolen from you, like material goods, with the things that can't be stolen, such as your ability to peacefully appreciate beauty. How will you align your actions with your values? And that's, as it wraps up, it all kind of comes together as aligning your actions to your values after you go through, there's 6 principles of this ACT, and the principles are diffusion, acceptance, connection with the present, observing self, clear values, and committed action. And the pathology that those things are the cure to are just basically the opposite of that. But if you look at a lot of your issues, struggles, problems in life, this is really a lot of them can't solve them perhaps, but you can at least get a perspective that helps you begin to start solving them. And that's what this book is really good for. Again, it's Break Free, Acceptance and Commitment Therapy in 3 Steps, a workbook for overcoming self-doubt and embracing life. And this is Jay from TheraArts, and I'll have information where you can buy this book and check out the link will be in the description if I get around to it. Well, eventually I get around to it, but anyway, it's a great book. Speaking of fusing, the book fuses a lot of different kind of psychological theories and principles and even counseling philosophies into kind of a succinct guide for practice. Again, thanks for watching, and appreciate you guys' support and liking and subscribing, as well as just sharing these videos. And I hope things are going well for you, and see you next time. Thank you.